Hi everybody, today I'm going to be showing you some recent purchasings of mine over the past few weeks. Most of these are DVDs slash Blu-rays, and I've acquired them from the likes of HMV, CEX and Music Magpie. So let's get into it. First we've got Sinners on Blu-ray. So purchased this whenever it came out, I think at the end of July. I've already seen it twice in the cinemas. It's my favourite film of the year, I think, without question. It's such a unique premise, great cast, quite the story, and an incredible soundtrack, and also how it incorporates music into the story is just fantastic. So I'm going to try and not spoil anything really on this list, but this is a must-watch film. Certainly film of the year for me, as I say, and probably in my top 5 films of the decade. So highly recommended this. Haven't actually watched the Blu-ray version yet myself, although I have borrowed it to my grandparents who absolutely loved it as well. So don't just take my word for it. This is the HMV pile, I should say, but I'll let you know whenever we're changing. Speaking of films of the decade, Top Gun Maverick on Blu-ray. Again, this is a film I have seen. I've seen it twice when it came out in the cinema, and seen it once on, it might have been Netflix or something like that, but I figured I would like to just have a copy of it on Blu-ray to actually own it. So, I mean, not much I can say about this film. It's just tremendous. One of the best action films ever, and really, really helped cinema after a turbulent couple of years when this came out. It came out in 2022, as this was just a huge blockbuster, and it was a great cinematic experience. Great experience in general. Much preferred it than the first Top Gun. That's just my opinion. So, Top Gun Maverick. And the last item from HMV is actually not something I bought myself. My wife bought me it, but it ties into a later purchase. So, my lovely wife Kelsey, love you, bought me a pop vinyl figure of Ash Williams from the movie Evil Dead Army of Darkness. I'm a huge Evil Dead fan, the huge Sam Raimi fan. The Spider-Man trilogy is probably my favorite superhero trilogy, probably my favorite film trilogy, to be honest. And the Evil Dead films, if you haven't seen them, the first one's a straight up horror, the second one's a horror comedy, and Army of Darkness, this one here, is essentially a Monty Python movie. It's insane. Great dark comedy, great use of horror, and just Bruce Campbell knocks it out of the park as the lead. So once we saw this, my wife Kelsey bought me it. So thanks, Kelsey. Love you. That's the end of the CEX, or the HMV, excuse me, pile. Now we jump into CEX, and related to that last item, the Evil Dead trilogy on Blu-ray. These are films I spoke highly of a second or two ago. Probably my favorite horror trilogy, even though it's a horror comedy set. Um, if you've never seen them, I actually haven't seen the newer versions. So the Evil Dead 2014 and then Evil Dead Rise, which came out a couple of years ago. But I will make a point of seeing those at some point. But these films, just tremendous. Again, I've seen them all before, but I just wanted to own them on Blu-ray. I'm not sure if they're actually available on any streaming services, but correct me if I'm wrong. Which is actually a reason I purchased a lot of these things, is because of just the lack of quality on places like Netflix or Prime Video, etc., etc. I just find the selection these days hasn't warranted the price, and you know, there's a chance it can be removed from these services before you know it. So yeah, actually, the past little side note, the past month or so, I've purchased more physical media than I have probably in the past 5 years. So it's funny that I've kind of swung back into this pendulum. I've always preferred physical media in general, especially video games, but I've really recently gotten into purchasing DVDs and Blu-ray again. So speaking of Sam Raimi, we've got Darkman. I, I, I wanted to watch this for a little while, and I did get it watched the other day. This is, I forget what the comic book, I forget the publisher of it, but it's a comic book character, a fella who's a scientist specializing in synthetic skin, is burned alive and returns for vengeance on the people who tried to kill him. Darkman is played by Liam Neeson. You also have Frances McDormand in it, who is incredibly young in this film. The movie came out in 1990, and as I say, it's directed by Sam Raimi, so has a lot of his trademark horror comedy elements, especially with body horror. This is a great film for that, right up his alley. But just watching this, you can see the inspiration that it's set for the Spider-Man trilogy, especially the first movie, just some of the editing styles, the transformations. I mean, he really laid the groundwork for the Spider-Man films with this movie here. I really enjoyed this. This is a really good cult film. It's obviously not a huge blockbuster by any means. I think it was made on a relatively low budget, but I highly recommend watching Darkman if you get the chance. I know there are some sequels that didn't have Liam Neeson as the lead, nor did it have Sam Raimi as the director, so I can't vouch for those, but certainly Darkman, highly recommend. Although I will say I'm going to be returning this to CEX because at about the 1 hour and 1 minute mark, it skips for about 2 minutes, which isn't long, but still, I've paid for the damn thing. I would like it to at least run properly without any skips. So yeah, I'm going to return this to CEX and hopefully just get a new copy, even though I've watched it, because I'd like to own this. Although for UK people, I believe it's on Channel 4, the streaming service. Although if you want to sit through 50 10-minute adverts throughout a 1 hour and a half movie, that's how you do it. So Darkman. Next CEX purchase, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I've only ever seen this movie once, and it's a real mind F. It stars Johnny Depp and Benicio del Toro, about a journalist and his sidekick going to Las Vegas. They're there to report on I think it's a dirt race or some kind of rally car thing. But yeah, they just end up doing nearly every drug imaginable, and you can imagine there are some crazy scenes in this. I mean, just look at the cover, that tells you all you need to know. I enjoyed it. But Terry Gilliam film, I think it was based on was it Hunter S. Thompson? I think it was a novel first, and it was an adaptation. So it's a very what's the word I'm looking for? Not controversial, but opinions vary on this film. Some people say it's the worst thing ever made. Other people praise it. Watch it for yourself. I will say it is something else. And finally, in the CEX pile, Infamous Second Son. I've played this game before. I've actually completed it twice when it came out and have the platinum trophy for it, but I was in my local CEX the other day, saw it for £4 and thought, you know, I do fancy a replay of this game actually. I enjoyed the series in general. I really did enjoy Second Son. It came out at a time on the PlayStation 4, I think 2013 or 14. Anyway, it came out at a time where there were barely any games on PlayStation 4, so it came out at a good time, and I really enjoyed this one. How times have changed. Now it's PlayStation 5 that's been out for 5 years and has no games out on it. Go figure. So that's the CEX pile. Like I say, disappointing that Darkman has the fault on the disc, but hopefully I'll get that sorted. Finally, Music Magpie. I've used Music Magpie a few years ago, but recently just checked it out for some DVDs, and I will say some great prices. I would highly recommend trying Music Magpie. Each of these DVDs some of them I haven't watched yet, but the ones that I have, no issues with skips or anything like that. And some great offers, like some 4 for £5 DVD deals, and just great prices and free delivery, which is great. Actually, a little rant here about CEX. If you're ordering online, the delivery I think is £2.95 per item. That's ridiculous. Come on. Anyway, Music Magpie. Starting off, we've got Dude, Where's My Car? I mean, what can I say about this, really? I think we all know about it. Kind of a stoner comedy with Ashton Kutcher and Sean William Scott about them losing their car and trying to retrace their steps to figure it out. So, I mean, by no means the greatest film ever made, but I always had a good laugh out of it. So I look forward to watching this again at some point. Next up, we have Adaptation, which I have not yet watched, but have been wanting to watch for a good full 10, 15 years. It stars Nicolas Cage, and his character is trying to adapt a book called The Orchid Thief. And as far as I know, it gets very weird and stylish throughout, as the writer that sorry, taking a mind blank here. The writer that Nicolas Cage plays kind of goes into madness trying to get the adaptation created. So looking forward to watching this, and Spike Jonze directed it as well. So that'll be one to watch in the near future. Keeping it on the Nicolas Cage train, the Cage Rage, we've got Leaving Las Vegas. Another Nicolas Cage film I haven't watched, but one that I've been wanting to watch for a very long time. He actually, well, it says right here, he actually did win the Academy Award for Best Actor for this movie, so that's quite high praise. He plays a character who goes to Vegas to drink himself to death, and I think he meets a prostitute there, and they end up forming a romance. So that's all I really know about the film, but looking forward to getting it watched. Leaving Las Vegas. Now we're on to, well, not a trilogy, but, well, a trilogy in the sense of 3 movies made by the same guy. So we've got Mallrats by Kevin Smith. I quite liked this. I wouldn't say it was my favourite Kevin Smith movie. I think my favourite Kevin Smith movie is in the pile here. I'll show you in a second or two. But this is based on two guys who hang around the mall all day, and they've both broken up with their girlfriends, and they're just kind of coping with that. And also you have Jay and Silent Bob appearing like they do in all Kevin Smith movies. I mean, that's kind of the point, isn't it? Really enjoyed this one. I wouldn't say it was my favourite one, and because it came out in the 90s, there's some things that haven't aged particularly well, just in terms of like the sexual themes, but I'll not go into too much detail. But worth a watch, although not my highest rated Kevin Smith film. But maybe if I give it a rewatch, my opinion will change and I'll think higher of it. Next one we have is Chasing Amy. Similar enough. I wasn't totally fussed on this. I thought it was good, but I don't know, just some of the dialogue between the two main characters, Alyssa and what's Ben Affleck's character called? Holden, I believe he's called. I don't know, it just at times they felt kind of unlikable. But that's just me. I would need to watch this again. Interesting take on a romance movie. Yeah, I'll not say too much, but I know it was very acclaimed, and this film actually helped Kevin Smith a lot because it got a lot of attention onto him as a writer and his qualities. Very good at writing dialogue for sure between people, and this film helped a lot with the next one, which is my favorite Kevin Smith movie, and that is Dogma. This film is insane. So it's essentially a pilgrimage. The Catholic Church have implemented a new rule or kind of ways of faith to appeal to the masses, and it creates a loophole that allows these two archangels, who are played by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, to re-enter heaven. And the story of this is the main character is supposed to stop that. So this film is bonkers. It's hilarious. I mean, I can't say too much about it. Or the cast also definitely his best cast to date. Obviously Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. You've got Chris Rock, Alan Rickman, and Salma Hayek as well. I mean, that's a star-studded cast. Not on the cover is George Carlin, who plays the Catholic bishop, and he's very funny. So great cast. Certainly the strongest cast that he had up until this point, probably ever. Well, I mean, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back also has a great cast, but this film is brilliant. I highly recommend watching this one if you ever get the chance. There were also some issues with ownership on this for a while, so it was hard to find copies of it. And there was, interestingly enough, the film wasn't owned by a publisher for a while. It was actually owned by Harvey Weinstein independently. He owned the rights to the movie, so a bit of a messy situation there. But I talked about Chasing Amy a minute ago. Alan Rickman and Salma Hayek read the script for Chasing Amy or saw the movie and loved it so much that they reached out to be involved in Kevin Smith's next project, which was Dogma. Tremendous, tremendous film. I'm looking forward to giving it a watch again. So that is the pile up right there, guys. So thanks for taking the time for my vanity project to see some things I've bought recently. I would highly recommend Music Magpie, especially. Great website. I'll link it in the bottom. This is not a paid promotion, by the way. For one, nobody's going to watch this video anyway, so it'll not make a difference to their bottom line. But great prices, fast shipping, and free shipping, which is also great as well. Looking at you, CEX, with your $2.95 flat fee per item. Dicks. Anyway, wouldn't be so bad if they actually gave me a DVD that worked, but we'll move past that. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned to this channel for some more videos coming in the future. I'm going to be releasing a video on 5 games that are stuck in development hell. Be on the lookout for that in the next week or so. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you next time.